What a lovely part of delightful Dorset. This is where Jack Hargreaves has his home, right out in the country, way off the beaten track. But then Jack really couldn't live anywhere else, could he? What an ambassador he's been for the countryside and the country way of life. His television programme began in 1959 and it ran non-stop for 25 years. Even now, and well into his 70s, Jack Hargreaves is still spreading the word. He spends a good deal of his time writing. He's got a new book that's coming out. This time it's aimed at children and it's called Keeping the Countryside. And this follows his other books, Out of Town and Old Country. Jack Hargreaves is a fascinating character. In World War II, he was commissioned into the Royal Tank Corps and he served on Montgomery's staff. After the war, he returned to journalism and became editor of Lilliput and Picture Post. All this before his television career, and this at the age of 50. Jack, it wouldn't be the same to see you without a pipe in your mouth. How did all this begin?
So, 61 years ago, my father said to me one day, when I was 17, I expect you started smoking. I don't want any cigarettes around the rickyard or we'll have a fire. And he gave me a pipe, a pouch of tobacco, and I was immediately sick. And I smoked it for 61 years, and I don't smoke cigarettes.
And what about this hat of yours? That's become something of a trademark as well, hasn't it?
Oh, this is a summer hat. This hat is Greek Army Cyprus. I once went to film in Cyprus in the days when the troubles were very bad, and everywhere we went were roadblocks. And all the Greek army had blue cotton hats, and all the Turkish army had red cotton hats, so you had to buy one of each. And then as you got close to the roadblock, as soon as you could see whether it was Turks or Greeks, you put the right hat on, you see.
Sounds as if we got some enemy up above us.
Oh, yeah.
You get used to the aircraft down here, do you?
Well, halfway between Yeovilton and Middle Wallop, we couldn't be worse placed as far as practicing airplane are concerned.
Jack, why did you decide to retire to this particular part of Dorset?
Well, I farmed for 28 years in New Forest while I was broadcasting. And then when we finished broadcasting, the New Forest had 60,000 cars every weekend, and you had to lock they built the biggest caravan park in England near our farm, and you had to lock the gate on Friday night and open it on Monday morning. So as soon as we were free to move, we came west. We came here because this is a nice backward place. I didn't get piped water here till 1961, you see. But I think the things will catch up with us now.
But why this particular area? What was it about it that appealed to you?
Well, I suppose it appealed to me because it was midway between the sea and 3 or 4 very good trout streams, the best chalk streams in the south of England.
And since you've been here, how has this particular part of the countryside changed?
Not at all. Absolutely not at all.
Well, now let's turn to this new book of yours. It's aimed at youngsters. Why is this? Why have you decided that you want to get a message across to them?
Well, I discovered that conservation is now becoming a scheduled subject in schools. In fact, I was asked to go and talk to 1 or 2 schools, which I did, rather nervously. I'm not accustomed to seeing an audience, let alone a young one. But I went there, and then I decided that these kids were going to grow up, and by the time they're voters, or by the time they're mature people anyway, green would be the big subject. In fact, I very much doubt if a party will get into Parliament by the time those kids are grown up, unless they've got satisfactory policies towards the countryside. That's why they've made it a scheduled subject. And the problems are gigantic. Whether a democracy can ever solve them, I doubt. But these are going to be the big problems.
So what's the main theme of this book for?
Well, I take the view that if people are going to argue about a problem, they ought to know something about it. You see, I know that doesn't sound like what goes on in politics generally, but the fact of the matter is that millions of people are now talking about the countryside who don't know anything about it. The country people have got some nice, corny stories about townspeople who come down the country. One of the favourites in this district was about a nice, middle-aged, middle-class couple who came walking over the hill with their binoculars like that, and as they came through the field on the dairy farm, the woman was heard to say to the man, why do the farmers always put the gates where the mud is? If they'd put them up there, there wouldn't have been any mud at all, you see. But nowadays, there's millions of people who will tell the country people about the countryside. And it gives rise to stories like that.
So then, someone like you isn't terribly surprised that green issues have come to the fore these days.
Well, the changes have been so enormous. I mean, when we were young, I was born 4 miles from a made-up road, and it never occurred to us the countryside would ever change. We thought the world would always be like that. But then, when I was born, there were 45 million people in Britain. Now there are over 60 million. And when I was born, there were 2,000 motor cars. Now there are something like 13 million, you see.
So how great, then, would you say the threat to the countryside is now?
Well, it's ultimate, in the sense that I have said to my son that one day he'll live in the City of England. Whether it'll be like an old-fashioned industrial city is another matter, but if we aren't careful, it'll all be like Surrey. If we've been to Surrey, there are still quite a few farms in Surrey, but nothing in between them except suburbs and industry, you see.
So how are we going to get it right, then, in your view?
Oh, well, that's what the young have got to decide, and that's what it puzzles me to imagine.
How much sympathy and understanding do the young have for all this?
They have got a feeling that they want the countryside. They don't understand that the countryside is created by the life of the people in the country. And nothing ever came to the English countryside from the days when it was original wilderness, except something that was needed by the total population. What I'm trying to make them understand in the book is how it all happened, how the hills turned from thorn bushes where Alfred fought his battles to turf where the sheep were, and how the water meadows were made and the thing was drained, and how when I was young we used to grow 3-year-old bullocks with joints that size because there were families of 6 who had to sit down. And then the farmers had to have other methods producing what we used to call baby beef, which is what people now eat. And how, for reasons nothing to do with the farmers at all, we came to produce too much milk, for instance. You see, if it's going to be solved, it all has to be understood.
Why is it, then, that the townies, the townspeople, seem to have such a bad reputation when it comes to understanding the country way of life?
Well, I don't understand the town. I get lost if I go to London. How do you understand anything if you haven't lived in it? They haven't got a bad reputation. It's just that they made the town so awful. They did it. The towns are very nearly uninhabitable, so they have to come to the countryside in order to get some relief. When they come here, then, of course, they know more about it than the country people do. One of the funniest things about them, when they come, they don't want it to change, you see. You see, we call them stop the clockers. In other words, I'm here, stop the clock. I've bought a house and a cottage in the country, don't let anybody else build one, you see, and so on. And I just want everybody to understand it, that's all. It's not for me to settle anything, I can't. It's not for me even to express an opinion. I never expressed an opinion on the program. I never said to anybody, you should do so and so. I always said, this is what we did, and this is what happened.
But like it or not, you see, you do
book.
have the reputation as a crusader, as a campaigner, as an ambassador.
I am not a crusader, I'm not an ambassador. I'm just a chap who started talking about the countryside by accident and found that when I thought I was going to do 6 programs, and I did it for 28 years. But I never once crusaded for anything.
So what about this television career, then? It happened at the age of 50 when most people